Ladies and gentlemen, you are not defined by where you began, but by how you choose to walk forward. Every challenge, every moment of doubt is a chance to rise, not just for yourself, but for something greater than yourself. The world does not owe you ease, but it does offer opportunity to those who stay grounded in hope and fierce in determination. There will be voices that tell you to stay in your place, to settle, to shrink. Ignore them. Life is not about playing small to make others comfortable. It's about stepping into your purpose, even when the path ahead is uncertain. Grace is not weakness. Compassion is not surrender. In fact, your strength lies in your ability to lead with both. If you want change, be it. If you want truth, speak it. If you want a better world, build it. With your hands, with your voice, with your daily choices. And when you stumble, and you will remember, the point is not perfection, but progress. This moment is yours, not because it's easy, but because you're ready. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your feet on the ground, and never underestimate the power of quiet resolve to move mountains. Life is not waiting for someone else to make it better. It's waiting for you to believe you can, and when you do, everything changes, even how you see life itself. You are not defined by where you began. Whether you come from privilege or poverty, from a home filled with love or one burdened by struggle, your origin is not your final identity. Too often, people carry the weight of their past like a label they can't peel off, a reminder of limitations, mistakes, or the circumstances they didn't choose. But life offers more than a static story. It offers transformation. The truth is, beginnings are just that, beginnings. They are not the measure of what you can become, only a reference point to show how far you've come. There is power in realizing that your past is a place of experience, not confinement. When you stop letting old definitions dictate your value, you start creating space for who you truly are and who you're still becoming. A difficult start can teach resilience, humility, and empathy. It can sharpen your instincts and deepen your understanding of others. It can give you a kind of strength that's invisible at first glance, the kind built in silence, in private battles, in the moments where quitting seemed easier than continuing. Your story doesn't have to follow the script someone else wrote. Just because a door was closed yesterday doesn't mean another won't open tomorrow. You may not have control over every part of your past, but you always have control over how you respond to it. Each day you wake up, you are faced with a new chance to redefine your life, not in grand gestures, but in small, deliberate decisions. The decision to keep learning, to show up, to act with integrity. To refuse to let fear dictate your future, believing that your beginning doesn't define your ending frees you. It allows you to dream wider, reach further, and rise higher than anyone expected, including yourself. Because no matter where you started, what matters most is where you decide to go next, and that decision is always yours. Adversity is not something we seek out, but it is something we all inevitably face. It comes in many forms: loss, failure, rejection, disappointment, uncertainty. These moments can feel like walls too tall to climb or storms too fierce to withstand. But what if we began to see adversity differently? Not as a punishment, not as proof that we're not enough, but as a catalyst for growth. Hardship has a way of stripping away what's superficial and forcing us to confront who we really are. In those moments when comfort is gone and clarity seems far away, we are presented with a rare opportunity to become stronger, more resilient, and more focused. Growth rarely happens in ease. Think about the most defining moments in your life, the ones that changed you, matured you, shaped you into someone wiser. Chances are they didn't happen when things were going perfectly. They happened when you were stretched, challenged, maybe even broken. Adversity introduces us to our deeper capacities, the parts of us we didn't know existed until we had no choice but to find them. Courage, patience, humility, determination. These traits are often forged in the fire of difficulty. Facing hardship also deepens your connection to others. When you've known struggle, you listen differently. You understand pain in a more personal way. You stop judging people based only on outcomes, and you begin to respect the process it took for them to survive, adapt, or overcome. That sense of shared struggle can become a powerful source of empathy and unity. You become more anchored, not less, because you've seen what it takes to stand when it would have been easier to fall. Adversity doesn't define your worth. It reveals your character, and each time you push through, each time you choose to rise instead of retreat, you add to your strength. You learn that fear doesn't have to be a barrier. It can be a signal that something important is on the other side. So while no one wants the hard times, it's in them that your true self is often born. They teach you that you are more capable, more enduring, and more powerful than you ever imagined. There comes a point when you have to decide whether you will let the world shape you or whether you will shape the world around you. That begins with stepping into your purpose with courage. Too often, people are told, directly or indirectly, to stay in their place, to play it safe, to follow a path that others have laid out for them. They're made to believe that dreaming too big is arrogance, that ambition should be restrained, or that quiet compliance is the best way to survive. But playing small doesn't serve anyone, not yourself, and not the people who need to see what's possible through you. Purpose isn't always loud or glamorous. Sometimes it's quiet, persistent, and deeply personal. It's not about chasing status or seeking validation from others. It's about finding what drives you, what brings meaning to your actions, and pursuing it even when it doesn't come with applause. And once you find that thing, once you recognize the work or the cause or the calling that stirs something inside of you, the next step is the hardest one, showing up for it every single day. Leading with purpose means doing what's right even when no one's watching. It means holding onto your values in rooms where they're not popular. It means taking the risk to speak out when silence would be easier. It takes courage to stand for something when the crowd is moving in a different direction. But real change, lasting, honest, transformative change, has never come from people who stayed silent or still. It has always come from those who were willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of progress. And this kind of courage isn't just for the grand stages or the big moments. It's for the daily choices, to show kindness in a harsh world, to stay honest when it's costly, to keep moving when no one else sees the effort you're making. Leading with purpose means refusing to let fear, doubt, or conformity keep you small. It means trusting that your voice matters, your ideas have value, and your path, no matter how uncertain, has significance. When you live this way, you don't just survive the world, you start to change it, and in doing so, you become a reminder to others that they can too. Strength is often misunderstood. Many think it looks like dominance, control, or the loudest voice in the room. But true strength, lasting, grounded strength, often shows up in the quietest forms: grace under pressure, kindness in the face of cruelty, compassion when others respond with anger or indifference. It's easy to be hard. It's easy to build walls, to shut down, to meet pain with more pain. What's difficult, and what takes real power, is staying open when you've been hurt, being gentle when the world feels rough, and leading with heart even when it seems like a weakness. Grace is not about letting people walk over you. It's not about silence or submission. It's about choosing to rise above pettiness, to act with integrity, and to hold your dignity no matter what's thrown your way. It means being steady in storms, not because you haven't felt the wind, but because you've decided not to let it break you. It means refusing to respond to hate with hate, and instead showing a better way, one rooted in empathy, clarity, and self-respect. Compassion, too, is not a soft alternative to strength. It is strength. To care deeply, especially in a world that so often rewards detachment and cynicism, is a radical act. When you lead with compassion, you don't lose power, you gain influence. People remember how you made them feel more than anything you say or achieve. They remember the moments you chose patience over rage, listening over judgment, presence over ego. These moments build trust. They build communities, they build legacies. The strongest leaders, the most grounded individuals, understand that showing up with grace and compassion is not about being passive. It's about being intentional. It's about having the discipline to remain calm in chaos, and the wisdom to know that how you treat others is a reflection of who you are, not who they are. It takes an unshakable sense of self to remain kind in the face of hostility, and that inner foundation is the mark of real strength. When you walk through life this way, you don't just uplift others, you strengthen yourself, because the more grace you give, the more centered you become, the more compassion you show, the more clearly you see. And in that clarity, you find not only your power, but your peace. The world is full of people waiting for better leaders, better systems, better outcomes. They wait for someone else to take the first step, to speak up, to fix what's broken. But waiting rarely leads to change. If you want to see something different in the world, you have to begin with yourself. Be the change you seek. It's a simple idea, but one that requires bold action and daily commitment. Change doesn't start in headlines or history books. It starts in the ordinary choices you make, how you treat people, how you carry yourself, what you stand for when it's inconvenient to do so. Being the change means not waiting for perfect circumstances. It means acting now with what you have where you are. You don't need a title, a spotlight, or anyone's permission to make a difference. Every time you choose honesty over comfort, empathy over judgment, or courage over fear, you are shaping the world around you in powerful ways. Small acts done consistently ripple outward. The way you speak to a stranger, the time you take to listen to someone's story, the integrity you bring to your work. These moments matter. They create trust, they build connection, and they quietly challenge others to live with greater purpose. Change also requires responsibility. It's easier to point fingers than to look inward. But if you want a more just, more kind, more compassionate world, it begins by asking yourself, am I living those values? Am I being the kind of person I hope others will be? This doesn't mean you'll always get it right. Growth is messy. Mistakes will happen. But the willingness to reflect, to learn, and to try again is itself a powerful act of change. It sends a message to yourself and those around you that transformation is not just possible, it's in progress. When you embody the change you want to see, you become a living example. You challenge the cynicism that says nothing can improve. You offer proof, quiet but undeniable, that one person can spark momentum, and while your actions might not always be noticed, they are never wasted. They create culture, they inspire others, and over time, they add up to something much bigger than you. Because when enough people choose to lead by example, to move from intention to action, the world doesn't just shift, it evolves. We live in a world that often demands perfection. We're bombarded with curated images, polished resumes, and highlight reels that make it easy to believe that unless we have it all figured out, we're falling behind. But the truth is, perfection is a myth, one that can paralyze progress, silence potential, and keep you stuck in fear of making a mistake. Real growth, real impact, and real change come from embracing the process of becoming, not from waiting until every step is certain, but from choosing to move forward even when the path is unclear. Progress isn't about being flawless. It's about being faithful, faithful to your values, your goals, and your growth. Every time you try again after failing, every time you keep showing up when it would be easier to walk away, you're building something that matters. You're developing resilience, clarity, and depth. These are the things that last longer than a single achievement. They are the foundation of a life lived with purpose. Perfection might look good on the surface, but it rarely inspires. People connect more with your authenticity than your polish. They are moved by your willingness to keep going despite setbacks, to tell the truth even when it's messy, and to lead with heart rather than ego. When you allow yourself to be seen not just in your victories but also in your struggle, you give others permission to be human too. You make space for real connection, and in doing so, you create real influence. So don't wait to be ready. Don't hold back your gifts because you're still learning. Keep moving, step by step, with humility and courage. Your journey is not a straight line, and it never needed to be. What matters most is that you keep going, learning, adjusting, growing, because every bit of progress you make, not perfection, but progress, is a declaration that your story is still being written, and that you believe it's worth continuing. And that is how everything changes, not all at once, not without struggle, but steadily, truthfully, from the inside out. That's how you shift your life. That's how you help others shift theirs. That's how you begin to see life, not as something that happens to you, but as something you have the power to shape. This will change the way you see life, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you finally understand that you were always strong enough to live it fully.